You're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
Follow us on Twitter at Basically Sports.
Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes.
And download every episode and more at basicallyasportshow.com.
Now here's your hosts, Zach,
Greg,
Mike.
And you're listening to Basically a Sports Show.
We is rolling, folks.
Woo!
Basically a Sports Show number 2 something.
2 whatever.
231? Does that sound right?
Whatever.
Okay, whatever. I'll figure it out tomorrow.
Some point in season 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, we got the NBA Finals tonight.
Right.
We have the NHL Stanley Cup Finals yesterday.
I told you guys I put that post up on the boards on last Wednesday. Or Sunday.
Are you in full panic mode yet?
No, not at all. No, I honestly...
I would say Henrik Lundqvist better shore up his blocker side because that is getting noticeable.
He stopped 20 shots in the third period, Mike.
Yeah, all 3 goals were scored on his blocker side.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Do you know what led to all 3 of the goals, though? It's in their own zone.
Yeah, shitty defense. But my point is that that fact that he's letting goals in on his blocker side is not going to be overlooked by the Kings. So he better shore that up because I guarantee you he's going to get a lot of shots on that side come game 2.
I will just say that...
I think Rangers fans shouldn't be any sort of panicked.
Not at all.
Because, you look at how they lost the game. The puck bounced on Dan Girardi. He stumbled a little bit. And, he panicked and threw it up the boards. Right to Mike Richards, who got it to Justin Williams, and God damn it if he didn't score another big goal for the Kings.
The problem for Girardi was that as soon as he got the puck, his teammates all rushed out of the zone.
Oh, yeah. He was the only guy back in the zone, right.
He had to make a perfect pass or clearing attempt, or that was doomed to be a turnover. He really didn't have much of a choice.
Yeah, the only thing he could have done was try to rim it around backhanded behind the net. Mm-hmm. And the position he was in, it was going to be nearly impossible to do that.
Yeah.
I will just say that...
It was just a bad play.
First off, and we didn't really get a chance to do this before the series started because on the last show we didn't know who was going to be involved yet.
Yeah.
I don't think the Rangers are going to win this series. So I'm not in panic mode for that reason, first off. Secondly, they played pretty well. I wish they would have been able to keep their foot on the gas scoring-wise after those 2 quick ones in the first. Mm-hmm. But like these guys said, it was a weird bounce. Girardi got left hung out to dry, and what are you going to do? So it wasn't, say... a San Jose game where they got slaughtered 7-2 or something like that. It was just one of those games. I thought they played pretty well, and anything can happen. But I don't think they'll win the series. I think the Kings are just a better team.
I think the Kings take it in 6, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say 5.
Yeah, I think for me it depends on what happens in the next game. I think the Rangers have to win game 2.
I will say this. With Henrik Lundqvist, they've got the goalie that if he can play, like you said, Zach, he didn't play poorly yesterday.
No.
If he stays hot, they can win the series. But if he's not average, but I guess normal, Henrik Lundqvist, I don't know that they've got enough to hang with the Kings because you guys, and I may have been wrong about this, but I still believe it. Going into the playoffs, I still think the Columbus Blue Jackets were the better team than the New York Rangers are. I think the Rangers got a break with, I don't want to say a break because that sounds terrible when you're referring to a death, but Marty St. Louis' mom dying really lit the fire in these guys. And if that doesn't happen, I don't know that we're talking about them today, to be honest about it.
It definitely galvanized them. That's for sure. I just think, the way the game went down, early in the game, the 2 things where the Rangers have the advantage are Henrik Lundqvist, and you saw that in the third period. But early in the game, the Rangers' speed was getting back on that Kings defense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pretty, quickly, I guess. That's a stupid way to describe speed, and considering the Kings goalie is quick. But they got some turnovers on the penalty kill, and they turn and burn, and they got down there. And hell, they almost won it with 30 seconds left on the penalty kill. Carl Hagelin.
Yeah, Carl Hagelin got loose, and I really thought this was going to be it.
The game showed that these teams might be a little bit closer than we think. So I don't. A lot of people were saying that it's going to go. Some people were predicting a sweep. Some people were going with 5 games. I think 6 is probably the best way to describe it. I don't think it goes to 7. I think it's either Rangers in 6 or Kings in 6.
Well, Zach, don't you know we're watching a dynasty in the making? So,
the Rangers, nice. Who thinks that?
Rangers are going to win the next 3 cups after this one.
Cool, fine by me.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from, but apparently we are all witness to the rise of the LA Kings.
Well, that was going to be. I remember when the Kings won in 2012. A lot of people said, well, this team's put together, and they could compete for the next few years. And you know what? They've been to 3 straight Western Conference Finals, 2 out of the last 3 Stanley Cups. If they win this year, they'll be on the same level as the Blackhawks have been over the last few years.
Sure.
And people were ready to say if the Blackhawks won this year that they were going to be a dynasty. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the power's in the West. The way this has to go for the Rangers to win, I think they have to win Game 2. I think they have to win the 2 games at Madison Square Garden. And then I think they would have to win Game 6 back at MSG. Because you know the Kings are going to come hard if they go back to Staples Center for Game 5. Mm-hmm. And as good as Henrik Lundqvist has played in Game 7s, I don't want to count against the Kings in a Game 7 at this point.
I don't know. Williams has already kind of used up his overtime heroics. So
I know. Yeah. Well, and you know what's stupid? So, he scored another Game 7 goal against the Blackhawks, too. He's ahead of Doug Gilmour, Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier for most Game 7 points of all time. Justin freaking Williams. What is that?
We are witness, Zach.
We have firmly established, I believe, up to this point that we don't much care for the Kings fans and all that stuff. Setting that aside for a second.
All right.
Yeah, for the most part. But I think we have to set that aside for a minute. These guys are a pretty good hockey team. The fact that they can flip the switch, I know it bothers people, Zach. Yeah. But when it comes right down to it, I mean, they have faced adversity throughout these playoffs, and they've come through every single time.
Well, when it comes down to this particular Kings team, the thing that bothers me about this team, they were, I think, the bottom 3 in terms of goal scoring per game this season, and now all of a sudden they're scoring 3.5 goals a game in the playoffs. I'm still struggling to figure out where that came from. Is it because they can play a little bit more clutch and grab in the playoffs and not get called for penalties?
Probably.
Maybe, but I think that would help you more defensively than offensively, right? You're not going to grapple your way to goals.
You talk about that they play a system. Is their system well designed for playoff-type hockey where you're allowed to do a little more grabbing, get away with a little bit more?
Yeah, but their system is a defensive system. I wouldn't call it an offensive system by any means. And the thing is, like somebody pointed out during the pregame the other day, the Kings beat the number 1 scoring team in Anaheim, the number 2 scoring team in Chicago, and the number 6 scoring team in San Jose. And I mean, when you beat those teams, you have to score more goals than the other team. It's not like when they were losing, they were getting blown out, except for the first 2 games against San Jose. But outside of that,
they still won the goal differential in that series too.
I wanted to.
Well, yeah, I know. I just don't understand where this team is all of a sudden turned into the 80s Oilers again.
Jeff Carter is a hockey god.
Drew Doughty was who I was going to use, but okay.
Doughty's been impressive. That goal he scored.
I mean, Marian Gaborik comes over. Yeah, I mean, look at him.
The Columbus Blue Jackets need to stop trading top-line wingers to the Kings. It's really starting to become a bother.
I said it all the way back when the Jackets were still in that series against Pittsburgh that you can't say if, whatever, what if, but I just wonder how much help, if Gaborik had played like this, if he were still with Columbus, that would have made the difference in that series against the Penguins.
Well, I have a question. You look at these 2 teams and what they're made up of. How mad are the Columbus Blue Jackets that you have Jeff Carter and Marian Gaborik on one side, facing off against Rick Nash and Derek Dorsett and Derek Brassard, John Moore, a bunch of Blue Jackets on the Rangers, and a couple Blue Jackets on the Kings. They're both playing for Stanley Cups.
I would say this, that up until the last, say, season and a half, I don't know when these deals were made and when all these guys went. I know when Nash went and all that, and I know when Gaborik left the Blue Jackets. But overall, the Jackets seem to be headed in the right direction, doing things the way they want to do it. So they probably, maybe fans sit back and go, wow, it's our team playing each other in the Stanley Cup Final. But overall, I think the Jackets are headed in a good direction, so I'm not sweating it that much.
Well, yeah, but if you sit back and you just think of all the years that you sucked with these guys on the team, and I mean, one of the guys was only there for a month because he didn't want to be there, Jeff Carter. But then you just look at it and say, these were all Blue Jackets. Hell, even one of the Rangers' assistant coaches was the Blue Jackets head coach, one of the worst in history. So it's just funny.
Well, it reminds me of Mike's Toronto Blue Jays World Championship teams back in the 90s. That team was filled with ex-Cleveland Indians. You had Corey Snyder, Joe Carter, Pat Tabler, a bunch of guys that when they played for the Indians, they were okay, but the Indians were god-awful. They go to the Jays, and they win a couple World Series right in a row. This is just one of those weird things that happens in sports, I think.
So what you're saying, Greg, is that the Columbus Blue Jackets
should be here.
Stanley Cup
Absolutely, instead of the New York Rangers, and I stand by that. I do. If you look at these Rangers, but think about it for a second.
They played Pittsburgh tough. They could have won most of those games. So let's go back. Say they beat Pittsburgh. They play the Rangers in the next round. They beat the Rangers?
Yes, I believe they do. Yeah, if Marty St. Louis, that I'm not so sure about, but
because then you also have to take out the Carey Price injury factor,
right? But remember,
Carey Price is healthy. I don't think the Rangers win that series.
I don't remember who it was, but way back when we were doing our NHL preview, a celebrity, predicted it would be the Jackets and the Canadiens in the conference finals. Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not. What I'm saying is that if you look at this Rangers,
we have to go back. The Blue Jackets were supposed to win.
If you look at this Rangers team seriously for a second, okay, you've got Marty St. Louis, 38?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's so typical of a New York Rangers team, and this is what frustrated me for so many years. Yeah, he's played great, but you look at them. How did they get here? I mean, who's their star player right now?
Their leading scorer is St. Louis, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I would imagine so, but that's what I'm saying.
It was weird because they were listing off like the season stats. Matt Zuccarello was the leading scorer for the Rangers during the regular season. Matt Zuccarello, the lone Norwegian hockey player in the NHL, all of 5'8".
But that's
the leading scorer for the New York Rangers.
I believe a Montreal Maroon.
Yeah. He also has the nickname Norwegian Hobbit Wizard.
That's a cool nickname.
But
my point being is that
yes, he is.
Hey, guys, hold on. Breaking news from the NBA Finals. LeBron James just dunked.
Oh.
Yeah, he had a breakaway.
Well, I was hoping that we'd get to see something like that at some point.
Yeah. I've never seen that before. It was quite amazing. Put it up in the record books. LeBron James with a steal and dunk.
But going back to the Rangers for a second, okay, you had the Blackhawks, okay, you had Taves and Kane. Name me the guy on the Rangers or like with the Ducks, you had Corey Perry. Who do the Rangers have that fits into that category? Hell, even the Blue Jackets had, oh God, what's his name? My favorite, Ryan Johansson.
Yeah. It was supposed to be Brad Richards.
Okay.
But it's not. It's supposed to be Rick Nash.
Well, come on, let's get serious about this.
Well,
I know,
Rick Nash
Rick Nash has been invisible. I saw him touch the puck once, and I saw him 61 on the Rangers. Who is that guy? Oh, Rick Nash.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, what are you doing, Rick?
He's still half frozen. They haven't thawed him out yet, so.
Yeah. Well, and the best part is, you remember why all the teams that were in the running for him when he demanded to be traded? One of them was, I think the top two were the Rangers and the Maple Leafs. And he chose the Rangers because he didn't want to play under the tough pressure of being the hometown boy for the Maple Leafs. All the crushing pressure.
See, I don't even want a guy on my team that talks like that.
Well, okay, if he couldn't handle the pressure of Columbus, Ohio, no disrespect to Blue Jackets fans, but
you're absolutely right.
If he couldn't handle the pressure in Columbus, Ohio, then if he had gone to the Maple Leafs, he would have. They'd find him curled up under his bed, weeping.
Yeah, in Columbus,
Toronto,
you have one newspaper, the Dispatch, 3 TV channels that really are going to cover you because they have to mostly.
Yeah, it's Ohio State.
It's not like playing in New York where you've got how many different media outlets, and the Rangers are a pretty big deal in New York. So,
how many places in the country are you going to be second to a college football team?
And the NHL, not many. Probably.
If you're a professional, if you're one of the 4 major sports leagues, where are you going to be behind a college team?
I got to think
Alabama.
Basketball in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll never see an NBA team in Kentucky.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, they're way down the list behind the Buckeyes. So, to Mike's point, if he couldn't handle the pressure of Columbus, which there really is no pressure, everybody in Columbus, the team's good. We're just happy they're good. There's no pressure. No one's expecting anything. What the hell made him think he could go to New York and do any better?
Between New York and Toronto, New York was the better option. You go to Toronto, he has one bad game, and you have every newspaper in Southern Ontario calling for his head.
Yeah. For all intents and purposes, this Rangers team, in my eyes, is kind of a fluke.
Exactly.
Because I thought the Rangers were better 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
The last time they could have played the Kings, when they ended up losing to New Jersey.
Yes. Martin Brodor's last hurrah.
Right. I thought that Rangers team was better than this Rangers team. And the Kings, by all accounts, despite them having to go to Game 7 after Game 7, I think they're built better than they were in 2012. Because 2012, it was all Jonathan Quick all the time. And this year, he hasn't been amazing Jonathan Conn Smythe Quick. He's been decent. And people, something that you don't think about until now that they get to the finals, the teams the Kings had to go through. And like the way Andrei Kopitar has been playing, for instance, Andrei Kopitar had to shut down Joe Thornton, Ryan Getzlaf, and Jonathan Toews in succession. And now he has to go up against Derek Stepan, Brad Richards at the twilight of his career. You know, Kings have slayed many dragons on the way to this cup. And as much as I hate to say it, this Kings team really has fought and earned their way to this cup final appearance and probably to a second cup.
Yeah, you can't say that they backed their way into this. They earned it. But that's my thing. The Rangers, and I got a Sports Illustrated in the mail last week that said how the New York Rangers became the Cinderella story of the NHL playoffs or something like that, which is not something you normally think of when you think of the Rangers, but let's look back at their road here, okay? Who thought they were better than Pittsburgh? No, I don't think any of us picked them to win that series, did we?
No.
I called the comeback.
Mike called the comeback, but out of the gate.
But I was hopped up on cold medicine, so who knows if that was the NyQuil talking.
If Price doesn't get hurt, do they beat the Canadiens? We'll never know. But Montreal made a pretty good series out of it, despite the fact that they lost their number one goalie. So
the Rangers got a lackluster Philadelphia team.
Right.
I can't tell you the results of any one of those games.
There was a lot of 4-1s and 4-2s. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you any aspect of that series besides, the Rangers won it. They had the spark of Northern St. Louis' mom dying and making the comeback against Pittsburgh.
Right.
And Price goes out in the first game, and Tokarski played well for the Canadiens, but they weren't going to overcome
Tokarski's not Carey Price.
Right.
And even with Carey Price being out, with the Canadiens out without their top goalie, the Rangers still had a bit of a time beating those guys.
There were a couple one-goal games that, who knows, if Price is there, maybe one or two of those go the other way and Montreal wins the series.
And I don't remember the standings exactly because it seems like months and months and months ago now, back when it was coming down to the end of the season. But weren't the Rangers, it took up about the last week before they actually solidified their spot in the playoffs to begin with?
Yeah, no, they were if they had lost a game or two down the stretch, they were in danger of falling into the wild card spot or maybe out of the playoffs if some of the other teams had won. Because I know Columbus was right behind them, and Philadelphia was right behind Columbus was right behind Philadelphia, and Philadelphia was right behind the Rangers.
Back to the series, this is why I think the Kings are a better team. Yeah. And I'm hard pressed to say the Rangers have been tested. I guess they coming back from a 3-1 deficit, I don't care if you're playing the freaking Ohio State Buckeyes hockey team, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But I just don't, these Kings have done this like baptism by fire. I mean, the things they've pulled off. I just don't see the Rangers winning this series because I think the West is just a lot deeper top to bottom. As far as, the top teams are better than the top teams in the East. So we'll see. But to answer your original question, no, I'm not in panic mode.
No, because I have to believe in the Rangers because I really don't want the Kings to win.
I would love to see the Rangers win this because A, they're the underdogs, and B, it would be cool as hell because I'd have to get a new banner.
And you know what? I think they can. I really still think they can, despite us lauding the Kings and how everyone else is lauding the Kings.
Yeah, but it's harder for us to laud the Kings.
Yesterday's game went into overtime.
Yesterday's
and
game
it was won off a bounce.
Yes, but here's the thing. Yesterday's game did go into overtime, and yes, the Rangers proved they can hang with the Kings, but at the end of the day, they still lost, and that's the problem. That's the problem. For the Rangers, last night's game was must win, and they had it in the palm of their hands, and they lost it. And that's the big problem. I mean, from a mental standpoint, I'm not sure how that affects them. If they come out flat in game 2, it's over.
Yeah, they have to win game 2.
I think when you go into a series like this and you're the underdog, getting a split is obviously very important. But I almost think from a mental standpoint, it's better to get the split where you win game 1 and lose game 2 than vice versa. Because for some reason, in my mind at least, you don't seem like if you've already got that win in your pocket going into game 2, worst case scenario, you come out with a split, but everything works out great. You're up 2-0. Or now you're playing for your life right out of the gate. And to me, that's just a huge difference. Even if they get the split, it's just a different mentality all the way around.
Yep.
So,
I think one last thing to mention before we move on, because I don't know how much we can delve this thing out any longer. But last series, we brought up the ratings for one of the games, and someone lambasted the LA market. Oh, how do they only get a 3.2 locally? God, people just don't watch TV or hockey in Los Angeles. So yesterday's game 1 ends up being the second highest rated game 1 in the NBC era.
Really?
Second only to the epic game 1 from last year between the Bruins and Blackhawks. They got a 3.8 overnight. Second to the 4.8 of last year.
Nice.
In the New York market, the NBCSN or NBC got the highest ever hockey rating in New York City with a 10.1 locally in New York. And Los Angeles got a 7.1.
Very nice.
Locally, which is only behind games 5 and 6 of their Cup win in 2012. And both of those games were potential clinching games. And both of those, I guess I don't have that number here, but game 1 of that series back then against New Jersey was a 4.2 locally.
I got to be. I mean,
people care. The bandwagon is strong in Los Angeles, my friends.
3.8.
And I think I told you that when the games were going to go back to network TV on regular NBC, the rating would be higher.
Sure.
I was right.
Yeah, well, it's easier to find if you're just the everyday guy who's like, oh, the Kings are in the finals, I'm going to check it out. It's much easier to find in the NBC affiliate than it is to try to figure out if you don't watch NBC Sports to track it down. But I think a 3.8 overall is really good for the NHL because ratings other than the NFL, they're just not what they used to be for sports. Everything's so fragmented now and all that. So I'm 3.8. I'm very happy with that if I'm Gary Bettman.
Another thing that has to be taken into account, though, is that there was no Mexican national soccer game going on to divide the viewership.
You've always got to make sure you account for that, too. This is true.
Do you want to – this is interesting. I also have a list of the top 10 markets that had the highest local ratings for the Game 1 last night.
Okay.
So the top 2 were New York and L.A.
Obviously.
Buffalo was 3.
Yeah, Buffalo's number 3.
They like hockey in Buffalo. That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, but I wouldn't think they would. I would think they would be Sabres fans and wouldn't care about the Rangers, But I guess if they're hockey fans, they're hockey fans.
Yeah,
Number
4.
Oh, I'm going to go with Chicago.
Detroit.
Chicago's not even in the top 10.
Really?
Yeah,
I'd put Detroit.
Boston.
Oh, Boston. Okay.
Boston, then Providence.
That's basically Boston.
Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Denver.
Okay.
Detroit.
Uh-huh.
And number 10, probably for reasons other than, rooting for the game, Las Vegas.
Yeah. It was on a lot of TVs there because people had money on it, probably.
Mm-hmm. Especially with New York and L.A. in it. A lot of people from L.A. go to Vegas.
A lot of people from New York go there, too.
Yeah, so that doesn't surprise me there. But while we're talking about popularity, as much as the ratings said it, the media in Los Angeles still doesn't know what to do with Stanley Cup Finals. The local Fox affiliate, they had a graphic up before Game 1 on one of their newscasts before Game 1.
Was it the Sacramento Kings logo again?
No. No, they were talking about tickets in high demand because the LA Kings are headed to the playoffs.
Hey. Good for them.
Yeah, the Kings.
Couple months late on that
guys.
announcement. Couple of months late on that, but good on you.
Yeah. It's one word, but it's a big distinction.
Okay, go ahead, Zach. Explain what we're about to do here.
You guys all know and love Jeopardy. We've used
Alex Trebek is a national treasure.
Yeah, did you see he shaved off his mustache?
Oh,
I'm not happy about it.
Years ago.
Not happy about
He
it.
did like 2 years ago.
No, his mustache has been gone for a long time.
He grew it back, didn't he?
I know. I'm pretty sure it's been gone for a while.
Oh, wow.
Dude, my girlfriend watches Jeopardy religiously, so I pretty sure the mustache has been gone for quite a bit.
By the way, speaking of Alex Trebek, he did a podcast recently with thenerdist.com. And Alex Trebek never does like these long-form interviews. It is fantastic. He's a truly fascinating individual.
I bet, yeah, because you never hear anything about him, so it would be great to listen to him.
He's really interesting and really thoughtful, and he's apparently one of the greatest handymen you've ever met. He fixes his own pipes and crap.
Really?
Yeah. No, and he knows all the answers to the questions. It's not just because he has the cards. He actually knows these questions.
That's going to shatter my dad's sense of... My dad hates Alex Trebek so much. He's like, oh, he's so smug. He acts like he has the answers, but he's just reading the cards.
Wait a minute. Isn't it against the law for you guys to hate Alex Trebek?
Like I said,
your dad's flirting with disaster here, man.
But anyway, Jeopardy is doing a offshoot, because you know how they have all their different types of shows they do on the normal Jeopardy?
Yes. And it's about time that they do this. I've been screaming about this for years. Go ahead.
They're doing Sports Jeopardy.
And it's about time.
Here's the thing, though. It's not going to be on TV. It's going to be online. It's going to be this online show once a week. It's going to be hosted by Dan Patrick. And actually starting this weekend in Los Angeles, they're doing the first round of auditions. They gave out 12 sample clues.
I just want to throw this in. You guys always make fun of me for all my old school knowledge, but this is where it will come in handy. Wait and see.
Well, there's 12 clues in 12 different categories.
All right.
I tried it earlier today. I got 7 out of 12.
All right.
I don't know if that is passing or not.
No. Okay.
But I'll play the role of Alex Trebek.
All right.
Welcome to Sports Jeopardy. Okay, so the first clue in the category of baseball history.
Oh, here we go.
He held the career stolen base record until Lou Brock broke it.
Well, that would be Ty Cobb.
Ty Cobb is correct. Greg on the board.
Yeah, with very little effort on that question, I might add.
I guessed Ty Cobb, and I got it correct. So.
Okay.
Number 2, sports in 2014.
Okay. This will be tougher for me. Okay.
In an inspiring story, Meb Kefalizigi became the first American man to win this event since 1983.
Boston Marathon.
Boston Marathon is correct.
Mike with the big score. Nice.
And the third category is alma mater.
Okay.
Tiger Woods, an alumnus of this university.
That would be Stanford.
Wears a red shirt on the final day of tournaments.
Stanford.
Yeah, that one was easy.
Right.
Number 4, on the cover. This Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition cover girl is married to the 2003 U.S. Open tennis champion.
Oh, excuse me, I forgot.
I don't know model names.
I don't either.
That would be Brooklyn Decker, married to Andy Roddick.
Okay.
I did not know that Brooklyn was a girl's name. But
yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
When you look like her, you could probably call her Fred and get by with it.
I got those first 4 correct also, but now the second page of these clues is where I started to trip up.
All right.
Number 5, the Super Bowl.
Ooh, here we go.
One of the few defensive players to win Super Bowl MVP was this Tampa Bay safety who intercepted Rich Gannon twice.
Dexter, was it Jackson?
That is correct.
Yes. You want me to give you the other ones?
I said John Lynch, and I was wrong.
The other guy was Harvey Martin, and there was something, or not Harvey Martin, Chuck Howley. And you want to know what was interesting about his MVP win as a defensive player?
What's that?
He won it for the losing team, Super Bowl V, Dallas Cowboys.
He's the only guy to do that.
Won for the Seahawks this year, too.
Right. I don't remember his name.
I don't remember his name either. This is spelling pretty bad for my Sports Jeopardy chances. Number 6, geography class.
Ooh, this is gonna. Mike's going to get this one.
Geography is tricky.
Of the 4 major pro sports halls of fame, it's the furthest east.
Toronto!
So basketball, baseball, football, and hockey Which one is the furthest east?
I don't even know where the Basketball Hall of Fame is.
I do. It's in Springfield, Massachusetts. Is that the correct answer?
That is the correct answer.
Okay.
Because you have Canton, Ohio, Toronto, Canada,
Cooperstown,
New York, and Massachusetts.
Yep. I didn't think it would be that easy.
I was trying to think if I knew where the Basketball Hall of Fame was, and I did not.
I thought it was in Massachusetts, but I wasn't sure, so I said Toronto, and I was wrong.
See, you guys making fun of all my old school knowledge. Well, look at me go here.
Number 7, cameos.
Uh-oh.
You can't catch a toss? Shout Susie at this former Red Sox first baseman on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Bill Buckner.
Bill Buckner is correct.
I was just about to say that.
That was a pure guess, guys. Pure guess.
I just figured Bill Buckner would be the only Red Sox first baseman anyone would ever yell at for any reason.
Yeah.
This next one's pretty easy. I hope we all get this correct.
Okay.
Rules.
Oh.
The NHL rules say a goalkeeper should have the ability to move freely within this area.
The trapezoid.
Incorrect.
The crease?
Oh, the crease.
The crease.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mike!
You can
my goodness.
The trapezoid is the part behind the net that the goalies are allowed to go.
I just want to point out...
That's the area they're allowed to play the puck. Not... I mean, they could go back there and, in theory, get hit, but, they're still going to call it.
Mm-hmm. I just want to point out...
Law, goaltenders should be free game anywhere outside the crease.
That, to our legions of listeners here, that the goalie of the bunch missed that question.
Yeah.
Wow. My world is absolutely destroyed.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
The Olympics.
Oh, okay.
Greece!
She won the women's downhill skiing event at the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympics.
Oh, what was that chick's name? She had the weird name.
She's dating Tiger Woods.
Oh, I don't know. I had no idea.
Lindsey Vonn.
Oh, okay. That wasn't who I was thinking of anyway.
Yeah, I got that one correct.
Okay.
Number 10, Gone Too Soon. In a bit of irony, it was at Duke University Medical Center that this basketball coach died aged 47 in 1993.
Jim Valvano.
Jim Valvano. Correct.
The irony being he was an NC State guy at Duke.
Yes.
So there you go.
Number 11, TV personalities. Neither of you are going to get this correct.
Oh, don't be so sure.
Doc Emmerich.
Well, okay. The Twitter handle of this Telemundo broadcaster is at his name plus the letters GOL.
Well, it's the guy that goes, "Go!"
Yes.
I don't know his name, no.
Quadruple Jesus. GOL at twitter.org.
And the 12th and final kind of lead-up question to Sports Jeopardy. Mm-hmm. Great moments. He threw the crushing block that led Bart Starr into the end zone to win the 1967 Ice Bowl. Greg is correct. Jerry.
He made a fucking career out of that block. He wrote a book called Instant Replay, and then another one called Distant Replay, and he's...
How do you write two books out of one block?
Well, because it was about not only the block, but I shouldn't say he made it, but he wrote about playing for the Packers, playing for Lombardi, and then I think he wrote a follow-up. I've never read either book, and then he wrote a follow-up years later called Distant Replay about what had happened since then and blah, blah, blah. But yes, so Jerry Kramer, yeah.
So, Greg, what we're finding out here is that you need to drive to Chicago or Philadelphia or New York for one of these auditions and sign up for Jeopardy.
If they kept everything in the historical side of it, I'd kill in it. But it's when you get to Olympics and modern stuff, I'm not so good with.
Right. Well, see, and that's just 12 categories.
Right.
There's 30 different categories for this thing.
I still say you should go, Greg, and then when you show up on the show, you should wear your Harley Davidson jacket.
Oh, you better believe I will.
Yeah.
Well, no, I won't be allowed to. I'm not allowed. You're not allowed to wear branded stuff on those shows, I believe, because of the advertisers. Right.
Yeah, you have to wear blank shirts.
Yeah.
But that's Sports Jeopardy.
I think it would be awesome to be on that. My question has been forever now. Tell me that this wouldn't be a great show, wouldn't have been a great show on ESPN. Why didn't they just go to...
They had Stump the Schwab.
Yeah, but that show was horrible.
That show sucked.
It really did. I mean, name the 25 starters from the 1991 Atlanta Braves. I thought that the guys on the team could do it for 25 starters.
Was that one of the questions?
It was always a question like, give me, say... 11 of the 40 guys that played for the 76 Seahawks.
I think you know what? I remember that. I think I watched one, and I actually got this one because it said name 6 of the starters for the 2002 Angels.
Right, stuff like that. But unless you really know that particular team, and this guy knew all that stuff, but
he was the Schwab. He was supposed to know all this stuff.
But I'm not as impressed with the guy that can tell me the 6 of the. Well, let me see if I can do that. The 2002 Angels. Yeah. Let's see, 6 starters, right? Darren Erstad. Anybody? Hello? What happened? Did we lose everybody?
No, I'm here.
Oh, hold on.
Zach?
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stand by.
All right, we had a little technical difficulty there, but we're back. So quickly, I'm going to try to name, what was it, 6 of the 2002?
6 members of the 2002 Angels. Starters.
Okay. Starters. Let's see. We had Garrett Anderson, right?
Garrett Anderson and left, yes. You said Darren Erstad on the first.
Darren Erstad,
round, so
right?
I'll give you that.
Okay.
He played center.
David Eckstein was a shortstop, if I remember right.
X-Factor Eckstein was a head short. You're right.
Left field was
Garrett Anderson. You already said that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Third baseman, MVP of the World Series.
Third baseman. Oh God. Troy Glaus.
Troy Glaus.
Right.
Yep.
So what are you up to? 4?
Was that 4?
4. That's 4. Yeah.
One of the Molinas was the catcher, I think. I don't remember which one.
You got to pick which Molina.
Was it Jose?
No.
Benji?
Well, Jose was the backup.
Okay, so Benji Molina was the catcher.
Benji. Yep.
One more, Greg, and there's an easy answer here.
Was it Jim Edmonds in center field still?
No, Jim Edmonds got traded for the second baseman.
There's a really easy answer, Greg.
Of course it is, and I can't get it.
There's actually a couple easy ones. Do you know who played him right?
No, help me out.
Tim Salmon.
Oh, see, I was thinking Salmon was playing left. And when you said Garrison, okay. Who was the second baseman? This is going to kill me.
Second baseman was Adam Kennedy.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he hit 3 home runs in a game and the whole bit, yeah.
You didn't even mention the rally monkey.
The rally monkey was awesome. I think of all the goofy things in sports ever, that the rally monkey was probably my favorite.
Is that what started your love affair of chimps, Greg? Or was
no, I've always loved chimps.
Okay.
Honestly, the chimp thing, it used to be my whole life. I said, if I ever get married, there are 2 requirements for my wedding, and these are the only 2 requirements I have. A, the ceremony has to be performed by an Elvis impersonator. And B, the bartender has to be a chimp. And those are my 2 requirements. And I thought, because, well, first off, no one's ever going to agree to those. And then my girlfriend Shelly comes along. She's like, oh, that would be awesome. I was like, well, I'm stuck now, huh? But,
you know who was the starting pitcher in that Game 7?
In Game 7 of the 2002 World Series?
Yep.
Oh, boy.
It was his rookie year.
Oh, man. No, I don't.
John Lackey.
It seems like he's been playing for 50 years.
I know, right?
Wow. We were talking about the Stump the Schwab show, that's a typical question from that show. And that's what I hated about that show. Like, we were off there for a minute. I brought up one of the questions was name the starting defense for the 2000 Super Bowl champion Baltimore Ravens. Who, you get Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, and then that's it.
To be fair, that's all that defense. I mean, it was them and then a bunch of other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, as not to disparage anyone who played on that team.
Not to disparage the bunch of other guys.
Not to disparage the nameless peons who filled space, but those were the only 2 that mattered.
Well, I think one of the Lewis guys was a defensive player. Well, not Ray. No, there was Ray Lewis and Jamal. And
then there's another
Jamal Lewis was the running back.
And Jermaine Lewis, I believe, was one of the wide receivers or a punt returner or something.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is that, especially in the NFL, the turnover is such that, and I don't know that if you asked a Baltimore Ravens fan 5 years later to name the starters on that team, they'd be able to do it because it just.
Did you name the Green Bay Packers starting defense this year, Greg?
No, because I mean, you talk about turnover. I can give you Clay Matthews,
AJ Hawk.
AJ Hawk, yeah, but no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I don't know if I could name you the 2002 Buckeyes national championship team. I don't know if I could name 5 guys from that team right now. Maurice Clarett.
Who was the quarterback?
Craig Krenzel.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Oh, he accomplished so much.
I know who Miami's quarterback was.
Yeah, that was Ken Dorsey, right?
Ken Dorsey,
Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
He was with the Browns for a while, believe it or not.
Is he one of the names on the list?
He's one of the names.
Oh, yeah.
He sure
on
is.
the list.
He absolutely is, yeah.
It's fantastic.
Speaking of quarterbacks, I don't know if you guys want to talk about this real quick or not, but Colin Kaepernick got a big contract from the 49ers. $110 million.
You know who's the happiest about that contract? Russell Wilson. How much money is he going to get paid?
No, because Colin Kaepernick didn't even win the Super Bowl. He didn't even win any.
Right. He's been to 3 straight championship games. I think the guaranteed money in the contract is the highest amount of guaranteed money for a quarterback. I think it's, 51 or 61?
I heard it was 51, but then I also heard, what's that guy's name?
Eclipses Drew Brees and Joey Elite Flacco.
You know who had the most guaranteed money before this?
Andrew Luck? Matt Ryan. But Mike Florio was on Dan Patrick today, and he said that of that $51 million, that the reality is that only like 15 of it is absolutely rock solid, ironclad guaranteed. I don't know how that you can say it's $51 million guaranteed, but only $15 million of it's guaranteed. That makes no sense to me. But
yeah, well.
But anyway, they brought up a point, and they asked us on the show: is he a top 10 quarterback? I don't think he is.
I don't think he is.
Yeah,
I think so.
I don't think he is. And I'll go one further and still say I think he's a lateral move compared to Alex Smith.
Hold on. So you don't think he's top 10?
No.
You want to list the top 10?
Quarterback?
Okay. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Drew Brees. That's 3.
Aaron Rodgers.
4. Aaron Rodgers is 4. You know what? I'm going to say Joey Elite Flacco. I'm going to put
Flacco.
Hey, we saw what happened when they played each other. We saw what happened.
Okay, I guess he has that going for him.
Yeah, I will say this. I don't know that I would necessarily take Flacco over Kaepernick, but I don't know that there's that much difference between the two.
Okay,
I mean, obviously Kaepernick's a better runner, but
Andrew Luck?
Eli Manning.
Andrew Luck's definitely better than Kaepernick.
Eli Manning.
Eli? Would you take Russell Wilson over him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 8. You got 2 more spots. Phillip Rivers?
No, but yeah.
You know
actually,
what? Phillip Rivers had a comeback year. If you look at Phillip Rivers' career, he had a couple down years, but you look at like the whole thing, it's actually pretty impressive.
I would take Jay Cutler over Colin Kaepernick.
Oh,
I absolutely would. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. He didn't say hi to that garbage man, and it's not a thing, but it's a thing. Okay, it's a thing.
God.
Matt Ryan, I think.
You take Matt Ryan over Colin Kaepernick.
See, this is the thing.
I don't think so.
This is the
Tony
thing.
Romo?
Oh, God, no.
It depends. Do I get to yank him with 5 minutes to go in every game? If I can do that.
That would be hilarious.
The simple fact of the matter is he's gotten the 49ers to 2 straight NFC championship games.
But
three straight, actually.
No, because
Alex Smith was
the quarterback the first time.
Yeah.
I'm clipping this from the Dan Patrick show, but I will point out what they brought up today.
Yeah.
Kaepernick did really well in that game where he shredded the Packers. Then he was not so great until he kind of picked it back up again towards the end of the year. But there was a middle part of his season, a big, long gap there, where I think they said he was averaging about 130 yards passing a game.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's top 10. No,
I mean, year as a starter, though.
I'm not saying he's terrible, but
I just think that the reason he's getting paid all his money is really because the 49ers were in a bad spot. Because he only has the 2 years of playing time, and he had the 1 year where he got to the Super Bowl, and then the next year where he had that kind of slump in the middle. But hey, they still got to the bitter end of the NFC Championship game.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
I don't know.
And then it's, well, do you pay him or do you let him test free agency? And so they had to pay him.
Yeah,
and
I don't know.
If he has a great year this year, maybe at the end of it, we're saying that the 49ers are getting a deal on him.
Well,
the way I see it is that he's not a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination, but I think the hype around him exceeds how good he is. As Greg pointed out, last season he was very inconsistent, and you can say it's only the second year, it's only his second full year as a pro, and that's true. But it's really the second year where you start to see how someone's career is going to shape up, because that first year he came in midway through the season. He replaced Alex Smith. And he came into a situation where teams didn't have film on him. Now we see him in a second season. Teams have film on him, and he struggles a bit. Again, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I'm saying he's not as good as people make him out to be. People make him out to be this amazing offensive powerhouse, and that's just not who he is. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's – I'm going to steal a line from Joey Flacco. I don't think he's elite.
My thing with him is that when he's on, he's pretty darn good. But he doesn't have the consistency in my mind to make him worth what they're paying him. Now, again, the guaranteed money is one thing. And from what I understand, too, that's a contract that the 49ers can get out of pretty easily. So I don't know. I just don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I would much rather had him than any of the 15 or 16 guys the Browns have trotted out in the last 3 weeks. But, I just don't know if I put him up at that level, I guess, as a top 10 quarterback.
Going over the list that we just made, for me personally, you'd have to struggle to push him out of the top 10. Because I think we got to 9. So I think we would have to put him at least at the 10 spot.
Okay, if he's maybe at 10, but not much higher than that. I don't think.
I don't think he's in the top 5 or anything like that.
When I look at Russell Wilson, I kind of look at someone who's kind of like Colin Kaepernick, but just better, honestly.
How about Matt Stafford from the Lions?
Oh, no.
No?
No.
Certainly not.
Brought it to Calvin Johnson.
Certainly not. Andy Dalton of the Bengals is not in that league. No.
Johnny Manziel.
I don't know. He was told point blank he's a backup.
Yeah.
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton, I would put above Kaepernick, wouldn't you?
Kaepernick beat Cam Newton.
It doesn't matter. No, the 49ers beat the Panthers.
Okay, well then Joe Flacco didn't beat Colin Kaepernick.
I see. I agree with that too. But I think that Cam Newton is a better player overall. He's a better package than Colin Kaepernick is.
Cam Newton's coming up for renewal on his contract soon too.
He's going to get paid big.
Mm-hmm. No, it depends. He struggled for a couple years. Last year was I wouldn't say he struggled because even when he was quarterbacking and the team was losing, he was still putting up impressive numbers himself.
He was having more personal issues, than on the field issues.
And last year was really the year where they won something ridiculous, like 11 straight games.
Yeah,
and so I think his future contract's going to depend a lot on where he goes from here. If they can keep it up,
if he has a similar season to last year, this year, he's going to get paid.
Yeah,
but if he falters again, who knows?
We're a long way from this, but I think the Panthers are one of those teams that you might be looking at to make that next step this year and become real serious Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah. They lost a little bit from their defensive unit, but
I don't know. I just Kaepernick. See, here's the thing too, and I'm willing to admit this. I think if he didn't come across as
a tool
like he does, I might like him better. So I'm going to be honest and say that maybe my viewpoint of him is a little bit clouded by the way he acts.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand a wide receiver going into the end zone and kissing his biceps after he scores, but come on, you're a quarterback, dude. And I'm going to get to put up with all sorts of that shit this year with Johnny Manziel. I just can't wait, let me tell you.
You can't wait you're not going to throw up the money sign?
No.
You're not going to rub your fingers together? None of that?
Come
on, Greg.
You know what, Greg? This is exactly what's going to happen. Johnny Manziel is going to be fantastic. He's going to lead the Browns to a new era of success, and you won't be able to enjoy it because he makes the money sign again. So.
It'll be tough because I'm not a big fan of his. I still am not sure I would have drafted him. I mean, I'm glad that they got him at 22 as opposed to whatever they were at 4. But then again, with the salary structures now, I don't know if it makes that big a difference.
Really, a first rounder is a first rounder at this point anyway.
Yeah, but anyway, I just we threw a little football in there just for fun. So
yeah,
that was nice.
Off-season football talk.
Yeah,
off-season hot stove.
That's the first time we've done that since the season ended, I believe. That we've actually talked NFL. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Unlike a lot of other media outlets, we like to give ourselves time to miss the NFL before we delve back into it.
But before we get off the NFL, Super Bowl.
Oh, yes.
50.
Yes.
We're for Super Bowl 50. No, Mike, hold on.
Yeah.
For Super Bowl 50 and Super Bowl 50 only, they were going to the Roman numerals, or not the Roman numerals, the Arabic numerals.
Numerals, yes.
For 51, they will reportedly be going back to Roman numerals, though.
So Super Bowl 51 will be Super Bowl Lee.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Lee, yes.
Yes.
They will
how awesome would it be?
And do the match.
I was just going to say, how awesome would it be if the Jets actually made that Super Bowl? The Jets Lee Super Bowl?
Jet
Come
Li
on.
Super Bowl.
You're just writing the New York Post headlines for them.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to do it.
What do you think of the logo?
It's par for the course for their boring, bland, lifeless template.
I like the gold 50.
I mean, yeah, that stands out a bit.
And I like how it's San Francisco Bay Area, except they have all San Francisco landmarks in the reflection.
Yeah, they don't nothing to represent like Oakland or Santa Clara or San Jose.
Well, see, the problem is, okay, if you're
there's nothing to represent San Jose and Santa Clara. Yeah.
Well, San Jose and Santa Clara are a bunch of office parks.
Yes.
I mean, there is like a distinctive clock tower in San Jose, but who the hell knows that?
Isn't it?
If you're going to do Oakland, you got to do with the Bay Bridge. But it's either if you got to put a bridge on your little
it's going to
logo,
be Golden Gate.
you got to do the Golden Gate Bridge or the Bay Bridge.
Right.
You got to do the Golden Gate Bridge.
Exactly.
So, I mean, they threw in the Muir Woods, kind of. There's trees.
I'm assuming that Super Bowl is going to be at the 49ers' new place?
Yeah, Levi Stadium
Okay.
in Santa Clara.
Yeah, okay, so I guess it makes sense.
It opens this season.
Now, I know that we had, like when it was at in Dallas, it was called North Texas. In Miami, it was South Florida. Is this, what are they, Bay Area?
San Francisco
Bay Area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it insofar as I can like anything from this logo system. I still don't like it big picture, and I do wish that we'd go back to the unique Super Bowl logos. But
what do you guys think about going back to the Roman numerals after this one?
I don't.
That's fine. It's because really Super Bowl L would have looked
stupid.
dumb.
Yeah.
And part of the thing is when you think of just the letter L on itself, you don't think of 50, you think of loser.
Right.
Right? So, they were in a tough spot. I think most people figured they were going to go to 50, the round number, for this one.
The only thing I'm not sure about is that assuming they don't change the general template going forward, I'm not sure if LI is enough real estate to fill out that template, because the way that it's structured, you've got like the Super Bowl plaque, the Lombardi trophy, and then the stadium, and then that's over the number. I'm not sure if LI takes up enough space there.
They might just have to make the LI bigger so it fills the entire bottom.
I got to be honest.
It's more like a U.
I like it when you get a nice Roman numeral that's nice and big with a couple X's and some I's and all that.
XXVII.
Yeah, those look cool.
No, XL was the best. Super Bowl XL.
Yeah.
40.
Super Bowl extra large. And of course it was extra large because Jerome Bettis won the MVP.
Oh.
So
Okay, yeah, quick logo territory guys, diversion guys.
Okay.
Of the pre-standardized logo sets, what's your favorite Super Bowl logo?
ooh, I have to look them up.
I'd have to see him, yeah. Can we get to a quick page here?
I will link in chat.
right.
Courtesy of the Kramer boards. There it is. It's linked.
Okay, which is my favorite?
Why am I not
of the
seeing it?
other ones?
Oh, wait a minute. There it is. Okay, let's see here. Now, we're talking before they went to the generic catch-all.
Before 2010.
Right.
Anyone before 2010.
XLV.
Okie doke.
My favorite is actually 1988's Super Bowl 23.
88?
Yeah.
Let's see.
That's kind of generic.
It's
You get the
kind
numbers in the triangle.
That's a nice one. I was always kind of fond of Super Bowl 25. I thought it looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
25.
Super Bowl 19 wasn't bad. Kind of a retro. Well, actually, it wasn't retro back then, but
I like 98, Super Bowl 33 with the South Beach Art Deco.
yeah, that's cool. 32's not bad either.
No, I like that one for San Diego.
What about the New Orleans one from 2001 with the U.S. map and the whole bit?
I think the original logo they had for that was better. I think the next San Diego one with the lighthouse, I think that's a little cheesy. Because
Yeah.
San Diego's not really known for lighthouses.
Yeah.
I
another one
like the Houston one, too, with the
space themed.
the space themed one.
My second favorite would actually be 86's 21 with the rose.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
It's good.
They were pretty good back in the day. They seem to kind of progressively get worse as we move forward here.
I don't know about you guys, but I like first World Championship game, AFL versus NFL. That impact font really gets me.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Well, see, now there's already a problem here because Super Bowl II was not called Super Bowl II. It was called World Championship Game AFL versus NFL. The Super Bowl did not become the Super Bowl until Super Bowl III.
But we've got a Super Bowl II logo right there.
I know. I don't know where that came from because that's incorrect.
Take it up with the people on the site.
I just might have to do that.
Funny story. I discovered this one day by just kind of aimlessly perusing the internet, and I discovered on a page of Super Bowl trivia, which I kind of wish I had on hand now. But anyway, Super Bowl 30 was the first time that they had set up a website for the game.
Oh, really?
Yes. And
do they still have that around? Is that what you're talking about?
No. The reason I bring it up is because internet technology was very primitive back then, and a lot of early web blockers blocked it because they read the XXX and assumed it was a porn site.
Right.
The reason I like this logo is because it gives me good feels for my favorite pro wrestling pay-per-view event, which was that. So
let's see here.
Super Bowl 23. The logo is very WCW Starrcade-esque. I like the Star Trek font one, too, just for the hilarity of it.
Which one's that?
Super Bowl 16 in 81. That's the Star Trek font. That is the font. That was the Star Trek font until the TNG.
Nothing makes me feel at home in the Pontiac Silverdome like Star Trek font.
Oh, I tried so hard to get tickets to that game because I was young and stupid and didn't think. I'm like, it's a Super Bowl's going to be in Detroit. I'll just get tickets and go.
It's just that easy.
Just that easy,
like
yeah.
that.
Well,
like that.
when you're 18 years old, that's what you think.
Speaking of locations, I just got a little notification. The NFL, with the draft, is focusing on New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles as potential host sites for the 2015 draft.
Which is interesting that they'd say Los Angeles.
Super Bowl 50 should have been played in the Rose Bowl. It should have.
That was what the first one was at, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It should have been played in the Rose Bowl, but because we have to have luxury suites and more money.
Because what we want is a stadium that does not cater to people that might actually, show up and watch the game.
I mean,
no.
It's not like the Rose Bowl has ever hosted a big game.
No, not at all.
Yearly. And accommodated thousands of people traveling.
I'm sure that Los Angeles will get a Super Bowl as soon as Stan Kroenke builds that arena for the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm not trolling you. I do think it's an inevitability at this point.
I think so, too.
You guys will get your Super Bowl.
And since we're talking about the Rams and their inevitable move back to L.A., there's been more verification that they are looking at bringing back the blue and whites, but now it's only as an alternate.
And for twice a year, Greg will become a Los Angeles Rams fan.
I tell you what, if they went back to those things full time, I don't know what I would do.
A three-way tug of war between the Packers, the Browns.
Yeah. It's all about the uniforms, man. And if the Browns screw this uniform up, which they inevitably will, I might have to reassess things.
Gray uniforms, orange highlighter numbers. Watch it happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
All right. Well, we got some things.
Wait, Mike, you got to do your bit. Hold on, one more time.
Oh, sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, Zach's Tabs.
Zach's Tabs!
Okay.
All right, so do you want to go baseball, soccer, football story, or pop culture?
I'm gonna throw my vote towards soccer because both Greg and myself, we need to tune up for next week's World Cup discussion.
Well, as you said, the World Cup, it opens next Thursday. Brazil takes on Croatia.
Okay.
In the kickoff game for the World Cup. But, of course, in leading up to the World Cup, a lot of the coaches are being asked about their preparations. One of the big questions that, is proposed to all these coaches and is a big, big question when all these players go away to foreign countries. Are the coaches going to let their players have sex during the World Cup?
I read something about this.
So the coach of the Mexican team, Miguel Herrera, has barred his players from consorting during the tournament, saying, quote, "If a player cannot endure a month or 20 days without having intercourse, then you are not prepared to be a professional. Let's play a World Cup. We're not going to a party."
Well, see, here's my thing on that, okay? What do the two things have to do with each other? As long as he's not doing it on the field during a game, which if he wants to, I'm fine with that. But
it might
as long as he's scoring goals,
it might actually liven up a soccer game.
We'd actually see some scoring in a soccer game.
Oh,
okay. Brazilian head coach Luiz Felipe Scolari preached moderation and safety, saying the players can have normal sex during the World Cup. Usually normal sex is done in a balanced way, but some like to perform acrobatics. We'll put limits and survey the players.
What does acrobatic sex look like?
Well, if we're lucky, maybe the Mexican players will show us.
Well, Brazilians.
Or whatever.
U.S. coach Jurgen Klinsmann had this to say. We're very casual in the way we approach things. Their families can come pretty much any time. They're going to be at the games. They can come to the hotel and we can have barbecues together. I think every nation is different. He respects the way the Mexicans approach it. When he was in Italy, that's the way his coach handled it, was having no sex at all.
How do you enforce that?
Curfews and such.
Okay.
Curfews and making sure you don't bring people back to your room.
It seems pointless because if the Olympics have taught us anything, it's that when you take a bunch of athletes in the prime of their life in peak physical condition and keep them all in a relatively concentrated space, they're going to look for people.
Well, the difference between the Olympics and the World Cup is the Olympics, it's co-ed.
Yeah.
There's still going to be women there. There's still going to be women in
but
Brazil.
all the professional athletes in Brazil are dudes.
No.
So unless you have gay soccer players that are
sure we do.
They're gay soccer players, which they probably might, but the chances are less. Mm-hmm. But then there are all those Europeans.
I think it's a silly rule. I don't know what the reasoning is behind it, I guess.
All I'm saying
the acrobatic thing, I can see where you'd risk an injury, but if you're really worried about it, wouldn't a person just kind of tone
I know
things
the
down?
reasoning behind it is, like, if you have the sex that you're releasing the testosterone, but doesn't it actually, like, amp up your testosterone levels? Isn't it, like, the opposite? I thought I read that once.
I don't know.
And even if it's not, even if having sex before a game makes you less focused or less skilled or less aggressive or whatever, then, it just comes down to basic timing. Don't have sex just before a game. Have sex after a game.
There you go.
Right. Well,
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. How long is the after effect? Say if you do it after a game, how long before it wears off?
If you do it the night before,
by the next morning.
Right.
I would think.
I don't know. I don't know how this works. I'm not a professional athlete.
Or a sex scientist.
Wait, we're not experts in both things? Come on.
Some of us in one area. Me, it's soccer.
But you know what? Just listen to the U.S. coaches thing. This tells me why the Americans never accomplish anything, because you have these other teams that are really strict and regimented, and then the Americans are just like, we're going to have a barbecue.
Well,
and then that's why you end up losing.
No, it's expectations. I think
they suck.
I think
is why they lose.
understands. Look, we're going to try as hard as we can, but at the same time, we don't expect to win the whole damn thing. So
might as well have some fun while we're there.
If you're Italy or Mexico, you have a little bit higher expectations, I guess.
Italy cheats.
Italy cheats.
Do they?
Italy opens the World Cup against England, Mike.
Yeah, and they're going to cheat. And they're going to cheat against, because there's no way that proud Anglo-Saxons would lose in a fair fight to a bunch of swarmy Italians.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm really hoping at this point that if we have Italian listeners, they're very understanding.
Breaking news from the NBA Finals.
Oh, okay.
This game is starting to swing towards Miami for a reason you wouldn't think. The air conditioning at the AT&T Center has stopped working. Advantage Heat.
What's the score?
What you did there.
It's tied 62-62.
Hey.
7 minutes left in the third quarter.
Hey, you're right. The last 5 minutes is all we really need to see.
Yeah, no, this game's going to be within 2 or 3 points the whole game. It's...
Well, with any luck at all, at least we got a rematch, but maybe it'll be a really compelling, fun rematch.
Last year's series was really good. It's going to be a good series. It's just... If I know that it's going to... And I've already figured it out. The Heat are going to win in 7. You want to know why I know this? Miami won the first round against Charlotte in 4. They won the second round against Brooklyn in 5.
I see where you're going.
Indiana in 6.
So
what is the next logical step?
They beat San Antonio in 7.
Exactly.
Well, I probably am not going to get a lot of fans by saying this, but of the two teams, and I'd be fine with seeing what would this be, Tim Duncan's 5th ring if he wins?
Yep.
I'm cool with that, but honestly, I think the three-peat would be kind of cool. just because we don't see him that often.
It would be amazing to see everyone who loathes the Heat and loathes LeBron just lose their minds.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing though is too, if the Heat win this one, I will bet you everything that I have that the Heat win 4 in a row next year.
You think?
Who's going to stop him?
Well, here's the thing. Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and LeBron all have out clauses after this year. So in theory, the big three could be broken up and they could go their separate ways.
But they're not if they win 3.
But if they all decide to keep a relatively low salary, which they could, and all decide to come back and let the team rebuild itself, San Antonio's as good as San Antonio is. Tim Duncan and Monty Ginobili and Tony Parker have to retire at some point, right?
Right.
No, they don't. They could be 90 and still pull this off.
I think we've proven that the Pacers are kind of inadequate.
They're a talented team. They just all hate each other.
Well, that's the thing, though. This is what's happened
the Heat would win the East, and they'd beat whatever's left of the Spurs, and they'll beat the Thunder, and
maybe the Clippers.
They could beat the Clippers if maybe the Clippers made the finals.
Well, see, that's not going to happen because they're the Clippers.
Here's the thing. We saw this with the Bulls a few years ago with Derrick Rose. Teams rise up, and you think they might have a shot. But, man, the window's just closed so quickly. Oklahoma City was another example. The Clippers, and it's like they have one shot at it, it seems like, and if they don't get it, that's it.
I think we're actually kind of a down period for the NBA when it comes to competitive balance.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, the West is good against each other, but none of them are really better than Miami is.
And the East, aside from Miami, the East is a dumpster fire.
And of course, the world champion Toronto Raptors.
Woo! No, I mean, that proves your point. The Raptors, okay, I will shamelessly jump on the Raptors bandwagon, but even I know this is not. In any sane universe, this Toronto Raptors team is not a number 3 seed. But they were, but they shouldn't be.
This isn't the NHL where 2 6 seeds make the final.
No, it doesn't happen.
Never happened in the NBA.
No,
never.
It's
never in
impossible.
a million years.
Going into it, a lot of people thought if Indiana could get home court throughout at least the Eastern Conference playoffs, they could beat the Heat this year. That was the thing. They got it, and they still couldn't do it because they couldn't keep their heads out of their asses long enough to put it together and get the job done. I think they had the talent to do it, but who knows what the hell was going on with those guys?
The best line I heard after Game 6 was, "Come on, guys! This Pacers team was built for home court advantage against the Heat. Let's just wait until Game 7. Oh, wait.
Still waiting on Game 7.
Maybe next year.
There was a lawsuit filed this week against the NFL regarding concussions again. Dan Marino's name was part of the concussion suit.
Oh.
Until the very next day when he said he joined the lawsuit on accident.
How do you...
What, did he fall down and accidentally sign something?
Exactly.
From Marino's attorney, it was never Marino's intention to initiate litigation in the case, but to ensure that in the event he had adverse health consequences down the road, he would be covered with health benefits. They were working to correct the error. So it wasn't, hey, I have a concussion, help me, NFL. It's like, hey, maybe in the future I might be part of one of these lawsuits. I didn't mean to get on this.
You know what I think? I think he signed on to this, and then doesn't Dan Marino work on
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Okay,
but you're heading down the right direction here. I think he realized if he does this, his chances of getting another job on TV are probably shot, which is certainly a viable enough reason to me for him to just change his mind the next day.
And, I mean, the thing that leaves me thinking this is his excuse of I signed it on, like, I joined it by act, like, no, I'm sorry. You don't join in on a lawsuit by accident for vaguely related reasons. That's not how the law works.
Well, not only that, but if you did get in on it by accident, you need to fire your attorney.
Yeah.
What do you think, Zach? You think the TV thing had anything to do with it?
Part of it, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to get another TV job anyway, because you remember the whole...
Love child?
Yeah, love child with the production assistant.
Oops.
Yeah.
Poor Dan Marino.
Never won that Super Bowl.
Nope.
And his last game was getting slaughtered by Elway's Broncos.
Yeah.
So, Zach, there's one thing I want to ask you before we sign off.
What's that?
A quick bags crossover.
Oh, here we
no,
go.
I was actually going to bring this up to you. I am hereby recusing myself from any conversations about this movie forever. I will just ignore any news that comes out. And I will see the movie when it comes out. I will make my decision whether or not to give up Batman as a franchise completely.
Wow.
Batman is Batman v Superman. Just pile it on.
Batman v Superman v Wonder Woman
Mike,
v Green Lantern v Cyborg
The Flash.
v The Flash v Green Lantern.
All right.
v Catwoman.
What was your question, Mike? I'll take a
Justice.
shot at it.
My question to Zach would have been, how do you feel about them adding Catwoman to this ever-growing cast of characters and concepts that they're piling onto this movie?
Oh, into the same movie?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God! See this? Okay, here's the problem.
We can't go a week without them adding something else.
DC just doesn't get it,
No, they
do
don't.
they? I mean, the Nolan Batman trilogy was good. Everything else, unless you go all the way back to the 70s Superman movies, has been garbage.
We're getting into X-Men 3 territory.
Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of, hey, here's a character from a franchise. Let's put him in here. To have him come and say one line and then leave.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. Bye. Okay, bye. Bye, Juggernaut. I really liked you in the TV show, but okay, bye.
is it going to be worth anyone's time if, they get Ryan Reynolds to show up for 5 minutes and be like, "Hi, I'm the Green Lantern.
Yeah,
Goodbye."
I mean, but you've only got so much time in the movie to work with.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee that they're just gonna, at the end of the movie, they're gonna have just all these people line up and be like, "Hey, we should start a Justice League." and then, hey, we're tying it into the next movie. I guarantee you that's how this is going to play out. You're not going to. You might see Catwoman. No, here's the thing. Where is this movie going to be set? Is it going to be in Metropolis,
New York?
Is it going to be in Metropolis or Gotham? Because if it's in Gotham, I can understand you seeing Catwoman. But why, in God's name, would Catwoman ever have a reason to go to Metropolis?
She wouldn't.
She wouldn't
At all.
No.
Oh,
Unless all of a sudden this is Halle Berry Catwoman and she gets
Nobody wants
DC. Here's the thing: DC and even Marvel, they both need to take a step back and say, okay.
Yeah, Ant-Man's turning into a huge comedy of errors in and of itself.
And it's a movie no one wants.
Yeah, no one
That's
wants
what I
Ant-Man.
read somewhere, that they're like, you're making
as Ant-Man.
No one cares about this movie.
Supposedly they were going to take that one the more comedic route. And make it, but the thing is, if you want to make it a comedy and then all of a sudden lace it back into the Avengers, it's just not. It worked the first time. The first phase of this was great. The second go around is starting to come a bit.
Marvel needs to take a deep breath and step back for a moment and not try to do everything. And DC needs to fire everyone and bring in people who know what to do.
Let Ben Affleck just direct his own Batman movie.
Yeah.
There you go.
It'll be fine.
Preferably with him not as Batman.
To be honest, at this point,
it's the least of anyone's.
It's the least of my concerns.
Well, you know that really says a lot right there. That it's gotten to the point where Ben Affleck is the least of your concerns about this movie, because that was the biggest concern going into it.
This is what's going to happen. It's going to end with Jesse Eisenberg, bald Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh God.
Going, "I'll get you next time, Batman and Superman." And that's how it's going to end.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for those meddling superheroes in the Justice League.
Might as well throw Scooby-Doo in there while you're at it. I know, a completely different universe, but why not?
Well, there are no rules anymore.
They all own each other.
Here's the thing. They both need to take a step back and say, okay, we've got something here with these superhero movies. It's a good idea, but instead of, let's focus on some story and not worry so much about how many things we can blow up and how many quadrillion billion dollars of damage we can do to a city at the end of each film. I think that's the way they've got to go with this, because it's just gotten ridiculous.
As someone who's seen Godzilla, I'm going to say I bemoan the fact that Bryan Cranston will not be playing Lex Luthor, because that would have been perfect.
How was Godzilla?
Very good. I liked it.
Okay, cool.
I liked it.
Isn't Bryan Cranston in the movie for like 10 minutes?
He is. The trailers, and I'm not spoiling anything because we talked about this on length on Bags, but if you look at the trailers for Godzilla, it makes it seem like Bryan Cranston's the main character. He's not. He's in it for 10 minutes, he dies, and then his son, played by Kick-Ass, takes over. Not to give anything away from the movie, but they've got Bryan Cranston on a stretcher, and I'm like, oh, no, he's fine. Now, they're not killing off Bryan Cranston, and they're like, oh, he's dead. And then they do the thing where they zip the bag up over his head, and I'm like, holy shit. I wanted more Breaking Bad.
Yeah, isn't it like Bryan Cranston's in the movie for the first 10 minutes, and then Godzilla's only in the movie for the last 10 minutes?
Oh, no.
I didn't mind Godzilla. I didn't mind the slow burn on Godzilla, though, because that's a thing that Toho does. Holding off on Godzilla is part of the tradition of the franchise, so I didn't mind that.
Except that I going into a Godzilla movie, I see the movie trailers, and it has all this destruction in Godzilla. And I would want to see a lot of you do, and Godzilla is in it for more than just the last 10 minutes. They do a very effective job building him up. You don't really get to see the money shot until later on, but they give you enough to keep you wanting more. So I thought Godzilla's not a big problem, but Bryan Cranston, even the 10 minutes we get of him is still more interesting than Kick-Ass in the rest of the movie, so it just would have been like... Come on! If you would have just kept Bryan Cranston alive, this would have been better. But even as it was, I liked it. Apparently, this air conditioning issue was actually a lot more serious than I had put it off.
Really?
Everyone got handed these paper signs, and they've all folded them up into fans. Everyone looks miserable at this game.
Is this what happened? Is this like is this like when the power went out in the Super Bowl?
No,
probably
because they
worse.
can still play.
Oh, they're still playing.
All the players are putting ice bags on their necks. Everyone is fanning themselves. It looks pretty bad.
Heat rising in San Antonio is what ESPN's front page says.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
And one more thing on basketball. Have you seen the SB Nation? How many?
Yes.
Just completely terrible drafts would have to happen to kill the NBA.
Did you see this, Greg? Okay, you know how in sports games, once you go past the first season, in a franchise mode,
right?
They start adding in these random players,
right?
Who really exist. Well, what the people at the website SB Nation did is they made a draft class with, I think, a full draft class with the absolute worst players you could ever create. The lowest skill marks, as low as they could possibly go in everything.
Oh, that would be awesome.
And so what they did is year after year after year after year, they would keep reloading the same draft file into the game. And so they were trying to see how long it would take to kill the NBA.
According to this simulation, the 2034 NBA Finals, Orlando Magic against the Denver Nuggets, 12 overtime, 3-0 Orlando.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, video games are great.
Yeah, so it took them a while to simulate it, but they killed the NBA. Apparently they did this with Madden also, doing the same thing.
I want to watch a game when they've gotten to the point where it's nothing but these horrible players.
Oh, they have video.
Oh, my God. I've got to see this.
I'm linking you now.
Yeah.
I've got to see this.
I'm linking you now.
Great. It's really great. Just look at the cover photo on this story, and it's...
There you go.
The GIF at the top of the page.
All right, hold on a second here. I got to see this. This is a great idea.
Yeah.
All right, let me see here. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, I told you the GIF at the top of the page tells you all.
Yes, Cooley hits, let's see, number 30.
I guess a week ago, they had all these people, they explained it to their readers, and they had their readers send in these haikus. And so they use the people who sent in these poems, they use their names to name the draft classes.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, apparently the Cavaliers become a dynasty. LeBron goes to the Lakers. Kyrie Irving wins all the MVPs. Barack Obama is the president for 50 years.
Oh,
and the in-game model's hilarious. He looks like it looks like his head is 3 sizes too small for his body.
Oh my God! There's a GIF down at the bottom. It's Portland against, I can't see who the other team is. This is great.
Yep. No, they gave them all the worst possible skills. So they can't shoot, they can't pass, they can't defend, they can't rebound, they can't do anything. But it's funny because if you look at if you go through and read the whole thing, while there's still a couple regular NBA players in there, the scores are still in the 60s, into the 40s, and then all of a sudden it just dies. It goes from 50s and 60s to the very next year when there's the last two NBA players are Nerlens Noel and Anthony Davis, and they play in the Eastern Conference Finals against each other. The final is 58-54. And
So
then the next year, those two guys retire. And then all of a sudden we get 12 overtimes, 3-0.
This is in that game, the Magic are 0 for 193 from the field before Sammy Tentos hits the game-winning three. Orlando and Denver shoot a combined 1 for 327 or a .003. It doesn't matter where they shoot from.
This is why the internet is the greatest thing ever. This kind of stuff. This is so awesome.
Basketball will never return to what it was. At this stage in its history, basketball is little more than a collection of carbon and rubber. All is lost, 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 all is lost.
Great. Now I'm going to be spending the rest of the night watching this stupid thing.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, I got to wrap it up, guys. So we got any final thoughts?
Go Rangers, like we said, and look out next week. World Cup blowout bonanza special.
Yeah, here we go. Yippee.
We're going to pick our World Cup teams, guys.
Oh, we get to pick our favorite teams, right?
Yeah, of course we're all rooting for America.
Well, yeah, obviously.
America!
I got to pick my second team, and that'll be fun.
Yeah, Mike's already chosen England.
England. Woo!
There you go.
I actually own an England jersey. It is super comfortable.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got one too. I just wear it as a polo.
I will say this. I think that a soccer ball is the coolest ball in all of sports. I think
only the black and white.
The black and white ones, right, yeah.
Yeah, they don't use those in professional matches.
Well, I know, but still.
Those are like children's soccer balls.
But they're cool. I even like the ones, even the ones without the black and white. I just think a soccer ball is a really cool ball.
I gotta find. I'll show you a picture of the ball they're using this year at the World Cup next week.
Okay.
Because they use a different ball at every tournament.
We will talk more about that next week. But anyway, Mike, real quick, what's going on with Bags?
Bags, we're going to expand on discussing Dawn of Justice. And we are also going to talk a bit about how the internet has harmed the gaming community.
Okay.
We've taught, we all love the internet, but we're going to take some of our grievances out.
Did you see X-Men, Mike?
I did, yes.
What did you think?
Much better than I thought it would be.
Good.
Much better than
I might go see it this weekend.
It's definitely worth a viewing.
You can catch both Basically a Sports Show and Basically a Geek Show on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Spreaker, and the website, of course. So with that,
and Smell-O-Vision.
Right. With that, we're going to call it a night. We will see you all next time right here on Basically a Sports Show.
Later, guys.
Please hang up and try again.